right, we're trying this again. Faz Radio is back again because OBS sucks.
Try Prism.
I should.
Well, that, and we're gonna play with your streaming settings because I'll bet you that's what it is.
Somebody tell me if they can even hear me on.
Oh yeah, shoot! I got to go back to the SpiderTanks.
But I don't hear ForgedinCrypto, FamilyMan, or Vera. Can you guys speak up for a second so we know your sound works?
Yep, we're here.
Yay! Because our you don't need to do your video, Titan. It'll just slow down your connection.
Oh, I can always forget to turn that off.
Yes. So stuff happens. Anyway, we're back. I'm using StreamYard now because at least StreamYard is somewhat reliable. I wanted to do OBS. I really wanted to give OBS a chance, but it failed again.
User error.
So
ID10T.
Again, we have ForgedinCrypto here today. FamilyMan and Vera Awesome and Titan, of course, talking about SpiderTanks. Will it survive? How many legs is it standing on these days? That's total clickbait.
That is total clickbait. We're just getting started.
So first of all, I saw this neat video by a guy named Vera Awesome who did a really good treatise on how clickbaity titles are actually the most accurate. They're accurate because that's what people wind up talking about in their video. It's surprising. You'd think that people bring you in and never deliver on the goods, but the ones that get clicked the most are clickbait. So anyway, we are going to talk about that. We have a lot of critique about SpiderTanks, and we're not expecting Vera to really comment on that. She's not She's not like a SpiderTank representative or Bitbender or anything.
Yeah, we want to hear from her, like on the playing side, and what she can add to, what we talk about, what her thoughts are. You know what I mean? It's I hate it when we have the gala folks come over and it's assumed that they're like speaking for the company all the time. Sometimes people just like to come talk about the ecosystem and everything else from a personal side.
You want to talk with people as people. I mean, you're not going to get certain information out of Bitbender or Vera or whatever. It's just not going to happen. So stop asking those questions. But at least try asking something that they might be able to answer. It's like, why don't you tell me the legal status of whatever? That's not happening.
We try.
So I don't have my questions up. Can you get yours? Oh, I have some questions. I just found my questions.
I'm going between all these announcement windows. I'm going to click into the workflow here in a minute.
Are there any wins, WEN, that Vera might be able to give us any sort of anything on?
Yeah, when Townstar Forever.
There is an internal date. I will tell you that.
2029. Here we go.
Things are happening. I usually crash a lot of the Townstar meetings. It's so cool to see things just work. And
so you're there. You actually hear what you see them talking. So you think that they're getting somewhere?
Yes. And to see how it's getting ported on Godot. And I actually have access. I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but I have access to try it on Godot. So I'm going to do that this weekend and see how it's looking.
Have you seen screenshots or anything? Is it like way different?
It's a little better graphically, but it's still that same art style that you know and love.
All right. Hopefully we didn't just get you in trouble there.
I think I'll be okay.
All right.
You're going to get the pop-up that your access was pulled.
No more ad everybody for you.
So a couple questions that we have. I'm at the very least, I think we need to talk about these things. I'm really hot about these drop pods, these atomic drop pods that they're talking about. And FamilyMan told me earlier that apparently they would eventually happen with different rarities and different costs.
That was all speculation. Let's not stamp anything in stone there.
Okay, I thought that I don't recall hearing anything about drop pods other than that they were. I thought that they were supposed to be like just rental fees or, fees for renting to keep spammers at bay. I didn't know that drop pods were going to be like this major part of the game. But it seems to me that drop pods are not very popular, just the whole concept of that, because it seems to add some extreme unnecessary complication to the game.
Well, I'm going to be a proponent. I'll just maybe just for the sake of devil's advocate, but also I really do think it makes sense. Nobody likes it because it represents a speed bump to the earning, but we're talking about.
Well, that's more investment as it were in the game in order to earn anything. It's like, okay,
no, it's not though, because if you're only able to get the drop pods in Silk, all you're doing is taking earnings from within the game and feeding some of them back into it. So it's not like you're bringing, well, I suppose you could take some Silk off of Bitrue or something like that. But ideally, the Silk that's being earned is what's being used. This is all about balancing the economy.
That might be a smart way to do it. I think it might also be a smarter way to actually make the purchases in game rather than having to go out, mint your Silk, and then buy your stuff, and then click your transaction. And I just love to if they really want to recapture all my Silk, they need to make it to where I go in the game and I'm like, yeah, okay, give me this, upgrade this, upgrade that. Let me do another roll. That kind of thing. But this whole getting out of the game, it's like, I don't know. It's like going across the street to take a shower during the middle of sex or something. It's like, what the hell? You're out of the mood by the time you're done.
That was random.
Yeah, I think the factories will probably make for something that'll be a little bit easier to manage that. I know they've talked about that once the factories are in play, we'll actually be able to earn parts from gameplay. Rather than just Silk or Arachnium. At this point, we're actually buying Arachnium. That's from the light paper. It was explained to us that we were going to have the option to choose to have our victory points converted straight into Arachnium. So I'm not certain how long that's going to be before they either tell us that they've changed or they actually implement it.
Okay, well, factories provide that stuff. That would make things a lot easier. That would make me interested in purchasing a factory. I have a feeling, though, that these factories won't be sold in Silk.
Oh, probably not.
No.
So, Mr. Titan, do you have something going on here? Jesus Christ,
so,
all your questions are in caps. Dude.
Well,
like an old man.
I hate that thing because I can't figure out how to do the sub thing. So I made it stand out because you have like 4,000 questions in there. So with the drop pods, I understand the context on that. I don't think it's inherently a bad thing. I think the way that they're deploying it could use some improvement. And I understand about how you have time limits on some and some are, forever. I think that going out of the game, like Faz said, is a really, really bad idea. And it might be just too early at this point. But it has to, like he said, it has to be something that is going to be worth more to the person, not so much value, perhaps, but worth more to the person than it is to take that Silk and do something else with it. And I think that's the biggest problem with how these economies are shaking out is they have to provide something that's worth spending that token on.
Which, I mean, in reality, the upgrades are worth it, right?
Well, it depends. So I've been monitoring a lot in the SpiderTanks discussion and some of the other channels. And people are like losing their shit because ancients earn like 1 billion VP points for 2 wins, and you can bust your ass and re-roll and upgrade yourself to legendary, and they get like 200.
Oh my God! Points. So I just won a game against all the maths, three MAFs: Timbo, Deadly, and one of his other upper lieutenants. I even posted it on Twitter because I was so proud of myself. And I have a legendary muzzle. I'm like leveled up to 26 on that and 27 on the flamethrower because I do flamethrower. And they have an ancient level 30 tank that's ancient. And I saw that Timbo got like what, 17,000, 12,000 for that game, and I got 200. No, not. Oh, sorry. He got one for a game that we had won previously, like 12,000, and then I won against them, and I got like 200.
So
And it's like between level 26 and level 30, there's that big of a difference.
do you know?
Yeah,
how
the
much it
earnings are
costs
parabolic.
Well, do you know how much it costs to upgrade to a 30?
Okay, the whole point is if I'm making a point, which is if I'm at level 26, 27, and I get 200 there, what's level 10 getting? I mean, is it closer to what I get? I've been seeing, what I see other people get like 0.04 silk. It's like, that must be a lot. I mean, look at all those parts you can get. I think you can get a piece of scrap metal for that.
Yeah, the curve has a really sharp bend, is what's going on. Like the first, like commons are really not getting much of anything. It's almost like if you have a common, you're only playing it because that's the particular.
Well, you're playing it because you like to play the game, not
because
you really want to earn.
At this point. And I'm not against that. It is kind of sad because people had to pay for that. Like. We're talking about a game that's supposed to have a lot of free-to-play options, and there is with the pilot program. But like if you put your common tank into the pilot program through one of the drop pods, and then you're splitting the earnings from that with a guy that's playing, it's like you've almost wasted your time clicking the buttons to put it.
I guess it's just the curve seemed so steep. And I'm not complaining about myself as much as there must be. It seems that the curve is like 98, 99% of the people could not earn those top things unless they put out money for ancient tanks. Well, you can't level up a 30, can you?
No.
So,
but there is the option of the pilot program, and so you're rolling the dice, and maybe you get the first play of a day on someone else's ancient perfect 30, and you get to split that 50-50, so you could be rolling like
you can
5 to 12,000 victory points on one win there.
I guess I don't know how the points are that's one of the things I was hoping Bitbender could talk about, which is how the points are generated. Because if I just come in off the street and then I pilot an ancient tank, and maybe I have a wallet, will I actually get those points, or will my own level matter?
Oh, your rank definitely matters.
Okay, so I'd have to be, hot shit plus renting an ancient tank to get those high points. Yeah,
there is a range. I think we were talking to Timbo Slice earlier today, and he mentioned that it's if you're playing your level 30 lava launcher, let's say, in Aspirer, you might get like 10,000 victory points. But if you can take that up to Mythic, you might be getting 25,000. So there's a huge difference as you climb in the ranks in regards to your because there are multipliers that are added is really what it comes down to. It's the same system with the upgrades. If you are upgrading from say a legendary, and you decide to accept a good upgrade instead of a perfect, well, the good upgrade has a 1.25 multiplier in regards to earnings, but the perfect has a 2.0 multiplier.
Well, but then once you upgrade, you can't unupgrade. I mean,
exactly.
It's almost like I don't want to upgrade if I can't get a perfect.
Well, that's what the rerolls are there for, but you have to pay for them, and that's a great sink. I love that about the economy. The problem is eventually these tanks are going to get upgraded. They've been talking about burning a lot of the tanks that are just left in the marketplace, and if they do that, then everybody's going to take the tanks that they have right now. They're going to push them to 30 one way or another, whether someone you get some of those people that are just willing to just like level up. Not, they don't care what kind of upgrade it is because they just want to have a level 30. And it's arguable. You do get better damage and armor and every other possible feature just for leveling up. The perfect will give you the best of those, but you're still adding like strength to your build if you just level it up. So there's some people that are just going that route and they don't care about the earnings.
Okay, fast forward a couple of years. How many people are going to have leveled all the way up to level 30 and are stuck? That's when I suggest things like that. It's like, okay, you do have a core set of players playing right now, and you also have most of South Korea playing. How many level 30s are you going to have out there in 2 years?
Well,
yeah, 2 years is plenty of time.
You're also thinking that the game's going to stay the exact same the entire time as well, right? Most of these games, they evolve and change as they move through. The economy will stay the same, but the sinks could change. I mean, and maybe the level 30 changes. Maybe they have to upgrade it. Maybe now you go to the next level. What's that going to look like? I mean, most people that play games, if it is a good game, they play and they really don't care about the earn factor. That's the whole point, right? You just want to get in here and I use my tokens from whatever game it is to buy in-game stuff, and nobody cares about it. There's the few of us that are in the crypto world that care, that understand like earning wise. Oh, I can actually earn from this and buy a cup of coffee. Great. That's a different breed, right? And there's like 100 of us left. So
well, that's a good segue into the honor system, because the way that they talk about the honor system is if you take out your money or your hard-earned silk and buy that cup of coffee, you'll get penalized for it, or may get penalized, and how they might penalize you might matter. And of course, a lot of the details about the honor system are still up in the air. Thank God.
I mean, they've talked about a lot of things on the honor system, right? Like one of the things Benefactor talked about was tying it to the liquidity. So if you go and you dump 1,000 silk and there's literally $8,000 worth of 24-hour liquidity, which is the current pool right now, they want to dock you or put it there because you're going to dump the price. But if you dump 1,000 silk and the liquidity is $1 million in a 24-hour time period, you're not dumping the price at all, and they're not going to look badly on that. That was one of the things that was mentioned. Whether they're going to do that or not, I have no clue. Right.
Well, now wait, that brings up a fantastic point about this. They shouldn't be messing with the price because that's market manipulation.
What do you mean?
No, I'm sure that wouldn't be the primary.
Of course not. We're not talking about the price here.
No. Like, I'm serious. I've thought a lot about this because I'm definitely someone that's going to want to extract. I have a lava launcher, and I'm able to earn on average like 150 plus silk per day because of it. And
so you're going to be the reason why everything goes to shit? Is that it?
Well, you have to understand, I'm one of 88 people that were able to immediately start getting these top earnings right off the bat. Well, I'm one of 88 tanks. So there's lots of us that we're harvesting silk rather every day from the game.
Hey, can we? Sorry, I just saw something from Chairbandit. He said that he'd love to jump in. Would you guys mind if he joined too?
More the merrier, right?
Bring it in.
I'll send it to him. See what happens. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, FamilyMan.
Yeah. So there's a lot of us that are going to have silk that we've either chosen to hold on to it, anticipating the ability to extract, or we've decided to spend it and upgrade our tanks, like is kind of the idea behind it. You want to be able to have the currency in order to be able to use the currency, not necessarily to dump the currency. So I think what's going to end up happening is there's going to be some sort of relationship between the amount that you have spent and the amount that you can extract. I don't know. I doubt it'll be 1 for 1, but the need of the system is spend. The replacement pool is entirely funded by the spend. And so you have non-replacement earners who are represented by the node owners and the map owners And I think those are the only two that are contributing to the non-replacement side. There may be others. But those people are just earning silk, or at least they're earning victory points just because of what they have. Now, granted, there's probably a work step involved there, but they're not engaging the game in order to win silk. So if they don't spend, then there's no new blood being put into the replacement pool. If it's just the players that are spending, then they're just cycling through the same amount, and then some of those players are going to extract, and so that replacement pool will dwindle unless the non-replacement earners can be convinced of a way or of a need to spend their silk. So if a part of your extraction is the need to spend, then that'll encourage non-replacement and replacement earners to be spending in game.
We now have Chairbandit in the stream. Welcome.
Hello. Hi. What's going on, guys?
What's up, man?
I'm just hanging out playing some SpiderTanks. How about you?
Listening to a bunch of crazy people talk about SpiderTanks.
We're all talking.
Yeah, that
smack
seemed
about
fun.
SpiderTanks.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in and say what's up. Maybe lend some advice. Yeah.
Please do correct us. Help us out here with the earnings.
Sure. So I noticed that you had mentioned you weren't sure if your ranking or ELO, whatever you want to call it, is a determining factor in getting victory points when you win while you're piloting. It most definitely is. The amount of VP that you get from a win will be calculated based on your level, your rank, what upgrades you've applied to the tank that you're piloting, the rarity of that tank. All of those things get factored in. So when you're a pilot, there's not a whole lot you can do about level, rarity, or upgrades applied, right? But you still have your rank. I believe Scuzzy did a bit of research on his own, and he came up with some really good-looking spreadsheets. I can't attest to the accuracy of them.
Well, that's a good point.
It's going to change, but yeah.
So why is this stuff all secret? I mean, when we've asked about it before, I know that Bitbender's given kind of a general burn down of how this stuff works, but we seem to not be able to get our finger on exactly what earns how much.
Right. So one of the things is, what's a good way to put it? There are so many different variations that you can have, and there are multiple different things that go into it, right? And I've noticed a lot of people saying, I got X amount of VP, but I only got this much silk, whereas that guy got the same amount of VP, but got a different amount of silk. This doesn't match, doesn't make sense. First of all, there are some things coming into UI elements in the next build, to my understanding, that are going to kind of help set some of those things straight. Another thing is that, things are always subject to change. And I've been in crypto, and I've been around in Gal long enough that people don't forget. If you say this equals this and that's that, and that changes, people don't like it. But fortunately, we have a great community and people that are willing to sit down and review those numbers themselves and put out their findings and compare it to others and kind of crowdsource the ultimate truth for that point in time. And I think that's a fantastic thing to have.
So with all of these 10,474 different metrics that are divided by the square root 11 only if there's a full moon and it's Tuesday, how are players supposed to weasel their way through that and still have a good time? I think it's so ridiculously complicated. How did it get so complicated?
So the whole point was to build a very robust and long-living ecosystem. And you can't do that if you only have one or two variables that you're basing it off of. If you want something long-lasting and robust, it needs to be complicated to a degree. It needs to be, there has to be a lot of factors going into it to keep it afloat and keep it going so it doesn't shit the bed and crash and burn as soon as one of those variables changes even slightly.
Okay. So
is it?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to throw something on top of that. So
Sure.
It seems like the curve is really steep for certain tanks, and
Yeah.
I thought I heard somewhere that eventually those tanks probably won't be earning as much, or the curve is going to change over time. Is it part of the intention to where more more silk is going to be given out in general at first, probably for liquidity or something, and then later that you don't need to do that as much?
Right. So that goes down into a UA play, right? The more users you have, the more people you get gaining VP, and the more effectively diluted the pool becomes, right? So those same people that are earning the same amount of VP might not be earning as much going forward. Also to that effect is just buying an ancient and using it is not going to make you the god on the battlefield. Anybody could, I could go, I like to think that I'm pretty good at the game. I could go level up a common and wreck ancients left and right. And there are quite a few people in the community that do that. So yeah, I think it's definitely a skill-based metric, and it's not something where you can just grab the best of the best and be the best at the game. There are plenty of ancient players that are mediocre. There are some that are great. And that definitely kind of will start to show itself and be more prevalent as the user base grows. And to that effect, as far as higher rarities earning more and kind of having that big curve that you mentioned, yeah, I mean it's true. There is a big curve. There's also a big curve in upgrading. Is that to upgrade a common from level 1 to 5 is not the same as upgrading an ancient from 28 to 29 or 29 to 30, especially when you include rerolls. So it's not just like you click a button and you're perfect and you never have to do anything ever again. There's always going to be that, higher risk, high reward type structure to it inherently.
Well, it is worth mentioning that you can level up the tank that you're working with, but then you'll probably want to rent some too if you happen to have more than one tank. And
sure. Yeah, or say I'm an ancient and I'm amazing at the game and I'm crushing it and getting VP left and right. Why would I stop there? Why wouldn't I want to go, I've got a bunch of silk left over. Let's go buy another tank and build that one up and put it out to rent.
Or rent out your ancient and then...
Or rent out your ancient and play another one that, a different weapon or a different body or, a different build entirely.
I've got a question if I can interrupt.
All yours.
Sure.
Great. So we look and see what the ancients are, the level 30 ancients, whether they've been perfectly upgraded from 28 or if they were the chicken or the whale shark or the lava launcher that started at perfect 30.
Sure.
And we look and we see what they're able to earn per day, not just victory points, but straight up silk. They earn a significant amount of silk, definitely in comparison to the legendary of the same sort, so like the legendary chicken, you could probably get, like, if you really, really grind with it, you might be able to get 15 to 20 with it. Whereas you can get easily 6 times as much in order to be able to, 6 times as much if you're playing with the ancient version. So,
sure, and again, that goes into skill. Is a mediocre ancient player is not going to be able to earn as much as a phenomenal legendary player. And I say that as somebody that I have a legendary.
The lowest that a level 30 ancient will earn for a win, their first win, is 10,000. And there is no legendary player that can get 10,000 for a win.
Let me see if I can pull Scuzzy's thing that he had. Because I would actually refute that to a degree.
Well, then please do, because I'm dying to see that.
So yeah, now keep in mind, this is all, none of this is set in stone. It's not perfect. It's not 100% accurate.
And it's not official, right?
And it's not official, most importantly. But yeah, an ancient level 30 Aspire, somebody that's in the Aspire rank, they're not very good at the game, but they have an ancient. They're not earning as much VP per win as someone that's a legend or a mythic or even a deity that's cruising around into level 30 legendary. The ranks really do start to crank that up.
That I wasn't refuting. I was saying that a level 30 in Aspirer with an ancient will earn more than a legendary who is in deity?
No.
Yes. What is the legendary tank earn? The 24. What does the legendary tank earn in deity?
Oh, a level of 24, sure. They haven't upgraded it at all. I wouldn't expect a level 24 legendary to earn the same VP as a level 30 ancient.
Okay, so if they upgrade it, so
Then
the paper
that starts to change things.
The paper that Bitbender put out said that it is that the legendaries only get 25% what the ancients will get at their max level, even if they take perfect upgrade.
And that may be true if all things are on an even playing ground. Is
So
that their elo's really good, they're crushing the game.
Then the legendary leveled perfectly to 30 will still get less than the worst ancient 30 player.
To a degree. Yeah, that's absolutely true. However, an ancient still has to win games. And if you're not good, you're not winning. A good legendary player is going to win far more games than a bad ancient player.
Okay.
And I say that as a good legendary player that beats ancients all day long.
So all of this is being set up to ask the next question. How is a legendary player expected to be able to earn all that silk? Because
expected? Are you expecting somebody to be able to level up? Like there's a level up ramp that people can possibly do?
Well, can we all agree that if there's no progression system in a game, then people get bored and leave?
It's also important to note that the game's, 2 weeks old, if that? There is still a lot more to come to it.
Sure,
This is just what we have right now
we're
today.
thankful for that, and I'm trying not to be incendiary here. I'm trying to actually get
it's all good.
some very clear points out here that there's a massive frustration because if you have an ancient tank at level 28 and that character wants to level up to 30, they're able to grind out enough victory points that let's say they do get their 20 wins per day. They're probably at level 28, winning 20 a day. They're probably able to get somewhere around, I don't know, maybe 100 silk a day.
Again, I'm looking at Scuzzy's thing here. Level 28 ancient, say contender 3, you do contender 2. It's 1789 for their first win.
Okay. So it wouldn't be that much. But what about someone who's in the level 28 who's in champion?
Level 28 champion looks at about 2600 to 2800 VP.
Okay, so if they could
level 30 legendary,
let's say that they after
champion
20 wins, let's say after 20 wins they could get to 20,000 victory points, and that comes to about 20 silk a day. So let's use that. So let's say they're getting 20 silk a day with their tank. The cost to take it from 28 to 29, if you don't even upgrade, is somewhere in the neighborhood of I think it's 1,000 to 1,200 silk to upgrade from 28 to 29. So
I would say no, it's less than that in my experience. And again, that's as a legendary player that currently upgrades their gear. I've got 3 pieces at level 30 and another one, a 4th at level 29.
But don't forget that the ancient needs to include the energy core?
The energy cores as well, yeah. As well as more arachnium and, luck of the draw roll in this case.
Yeah, but so the current market price of the parts for an upgrade from level 28, or definitely from level 29 to 30 is 1,200 silk. I don't recall exactly what 28 is.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers in front of me for all the different variations that there could be.
They're able to earn 20 silk per day in order to head towards that goal. Well, the legendary that grinds enough silk to get themselves to level 28 pays a comparable like cost in leveling from 28 to 29 or 29 to 30, and yet they're earning like 4 times less the amount every day. And meaning that they're
I'm kind of
meaning that
following
it's
here.
going to take them so
Sure.
much longer than the ancient tank to be able to level up from 28 to 29 because they just can't earn as much.
Okay. Well, let me push back on that a little bit. Is why would you? What's a good way to put this? Why would there be the assumption that a legendary would earn comparable amounts to an ancient, or a common earn comparable amounts to an uncommon, or uncommon to rare, rare to epic, epic to legendary?
I'm talking about the level progression system here and the amount of time that it takes in order to accomplish it. That if your common tank is earning like 1/100th of a silk per day, then it doesn't matter if it only takes bolts to level it up. You're going to be getting 1 bolt per day. And that's enough to pay for a reroll at like level 0, but that's not going to get you a level. So we're seeing that it's going to take.
I don't recall anybody saying that the game wouldn't have a grind, that you'd just be able to play casually and level up every day.
The point is that it's not, there's no parity with the grind. The grind is far easier for the ancients. And it gets harder on the new guy that's coming in. So the new player who only can afford a common is going to have to grind, like, I don't know.
The new player could also pilot all day long and earn potentially more than the ancient player that's not very good at the game. And they can use that to upgrade their gear that they actually own far quicker than an ancient would grinding by themselves with what they own.
Wait, hold on. Can you start that over again? You're talking about a common player?
Sure. Yeah. So, well, just say I own a common tank and I want to go pilot, and I get lucky with, a couple ancients in a day and I win. The VP that I get from those ancients that I piloted is going to level up my common far more than an ancient would be able to level up theirs just playing with their actual gear.
If they suck and can't win.
Again, yeah. I mean, if you're amazing, then that obviously changes things. But that kind of goes without saying for any video game, right?
And because the game's figured on 50-50 for win-loss,
Currently, yeah.
Yeah, and so let's say you suck, and it's only like you're like you win 1, lose 2. So you got a 33% win rate. You're still winning 33% of the time. And if you just play, you're gonna win.
I've noticed. I've been going through the progression system myself, and of course, I started off. I only have a legendary, and I'm noticing that the higher I'm getting, the easier it is to go higher. And I'm deducing that it seems that I'm playing less players. And when you're down lower, you get the craziest people and the crappiest games because people don't know how to band together. They don't know how to do teamwork very well. Now that I'm in the higher levels, everybody I'm with, they know their shit. And we lose by very little points, and I win a whole lot more. Just that's my 2 cents, by the way.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if you find a team, cohesive team that works well together, and you have communication, that can certainly change the game. I play far better, jumping into a group with like Deathlicious and Light, for example, and we're all on comms and playing and talking together versus just solo queuing with randoms. But again, is that not the case for every game in existence, that you're going to be better generally? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's every game, and I think the thing that's getting lost in all of this, which we all want to get the idea of the numbers and everything like that, but let's go back to the core of it: is are you having fun playing the game, and are you still able to enjoy it as you're able to upgrade, and is it too much of a grind? I can't personally say what that grind looks like, but is it that way for the lower player? And is it going to be that way when you have, 10,000 people that are playing? And so the games are much more,
and again, there's more coming to the game too. Components are not going to be just silk in the store forever. Like there will be ways that you can grind that out and get those components in other ways.
Yeah, for sure.
So one of the things that a lot of people have been talking about is the marketing to get those 10,000 DAU in there, right? And the consensus generally right now has been, hey, we want to make sure everything's running well and smooth, and it's a great experience for people who come in, which I am 1,000% for. Because at this point, I do believe Gala has to do it right. They don't have to be first, they just have to get it right. My question with that then is, if you're going to have this experience and you want to make it right, is the holdup Jiri holding SpiderTanks back, or is SpiderTanks holding Jiri back?
I don't think either one is holding each other's back. There's just things that need to be fixed on both ends to make it better experience for a new person. There's a lot being planned for the marketing push, and there's some really unorthodox marketing ideas that I am in love with, and I'm really excited that I can't talk about. But once they are, I'm going to be like, guys, is this cool? I told you this was cool. So that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Again, it's all very new. There's two very extremely robust systems that were launched simultaneously with one another. And with that, in anything tech, you launch anything, shit's going to break, right? And you need to fix it. And then there's, more rollout of more features and more bug fixes that come with that, and so on and so forth. And I think as this thing rolls out, it's going to become much more apparent how well constructed the ecosystem for SpiderTanks really is. I understand that, I want to be able to play and make money and get rich and all the Roy Boy stuff. But fundamentally, the ecosystem is very well thought out. It's a circular system. It's inherently deflationary, and the honor system is definitely going to bring even more security and strength to that ecosystem.
So the last question I have about this, we talked about it with Forged and Faz before, and this is something that's been mentioned by several other people in both CFA and in Gala Games. You have people who are moving assets, $5,000 worth of tanks, in some cases $40,000 worth of tanks. You have, like FamilyMan had talked about, you have people earning 150, 200 silk a day. What about security on the chain? I mean, people at this point don't have their own keys to it. They can't really get anything off of the chain. Even if they wanted to move a tank back and swap it out for something else, they can't do that. Any idea when that's going to be integrated in so that things loosen up a little bit and people aren't hanging out there without their own keys?
No, yeah. If you're asking for intricate technical details on Geary, I'm probably the wrong person to talk to about that, if I'm being honest. But
well,
not so much the bridge coming back to ETH is coming very, very soon.
But what about the security on there? It hasn't been audited yet, and people have a lot of assets sitting over there. How is that going to be approached? Is this something that's like in the works and is going to be out in a couple of weeks, or are we still talking, hey, we got to let these assets sit here with no keys and no audit for 6 months?
Again, I'm probably the wrong person to talk about that. I do know that it's certainly a serious thing, and it's something that's coming. I know that people are working on it.
That's a Bitbender question you asked.
Yeah, that's probably that's not a question I necessarily have a whole lot of insight on. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that you should have your own keys. I think bridging's super important. I also think that people yelling about it and speeding it up just so they stop yelling and making mistakes could be considerably more dangerous than taking your time and making sure you do it right. And that's what
right. There's just a lot of really nervous people that I'm bumping into when it comes to stuff like that. And I was hoping, I was just hoping that maybe you had a little nugget you could share before Bitbender joined us is all.
Unfortunately, no. Obviously it's a very serious thing and we're taking it seriously, and it is being worked on, and it will be launched when it's ready and not a moment before. Because that's one of those things where if you launch it and you fuck it up, there's not a whole lot you can roll back, right?
Yeah.
That's about as far as my opinion can go.
That's a good observation, because Townstar, I had thought personally with Townstar that that there are so many economic levers that can be pulled while the game is running. And I think it became clear that these economic levers are hard to move. I would hope that they kind of learn from that and make it so that a lot of things can change on the fly, like changing how much a tank can earn or a level can earn would be great.
Sure.
To not have to yank down the whole thing.
Right, and that goes back to why don't we have official documentation on every potential number that could possibly exist in this ecosystem? And that's the answer right there. Shit's going to change. There's going to be little tweaks here and there, and if you have an official number of if you do this, you earn this, and that changes, people freak out.
So about that, well, that's a good point, and one of the things that I've really hit Gala Games hard on is messaging, and I'll be dead honest. I've been a programmer for 25 years. It's really hard to get the messaging right.
Absolutely.
It feels like, I'll just say it feels like, not that you haven't done it. It feels like there's not enough of, hey, this is all part of the process. We're going to adjust things here. We're going to adjust something next week and so on. But of course, people don't hear that. They're like, what the fuck, man? I was making a whole lot of money last week, and now you changed it, and I ain't getting dick.
No amount of messaging is going to prevent that one person from showing up and doing that anyways, if we're being honest. You could have 20 announcements about the same thing, and that one guy's going to show up and say, I didn't read any of it, but things changed, and I want answers.
Well, that's okay. I think it's very possible to have updates on a weekly basis. Okay, this is how SpiderTanks is changing this week. Okay, this is how it's changing next week. We found out that the lava tank earned too much. We're going to dial that down just a tad because we found that some lower tanks didn't do as well. We want to even things out for everybody. We'll let you know how it goes next week. And of course, I know the next question is, wait, how much does a lava tank earn?
Exactly. Yeah. If I do X, how much Y? So on and so forth.
And I realize that actually is more of a calculation and not a spreadsheet that you can give somebody.
Right, because it's going to change, right? If my level 26 crossbow that is a rare, and I'm a contender 3, and I've got 3 decents and 4 excellents and 2 perfects and 6 good upgrades to it. Why am I not earning as much as the 26 crossbow over there? There's so many different variables that can change. Okay,
so there are games out there to where if I don't know how this goes, I can ask them. They can say, well, if you look at the documentation, you look at the algo here, you're gonna get more because maybe you leveled up manually instead of bought something. And
sure,
but it seems to be almost backroom talk. I mean, I've heard some things between other people who've been leveling up stuff, but the large majority, it's just going to be just Greek. They won't know how to level up. And I know I've played some games in the past where the games are like, hey, dude, you might want to go and get some of these resources. That way you can level up faster. The game tells you how you can level up. But for SpiderTanks, it seems almost a mystery.
Yeah, I do agree that there's always messaging. There's always UX and UI improvements that could be made. Announcements, people certainly like them. I don't know if you've been in the SpiderTanks discussion room in our Discord too much.
No.
But yeah, so just a little bit of a backstory. I've been in Gala since August of last year. In the first week of SpiderTanks launch, 27% of all the messages I had ever sent in Discord were in that 1 week. I was in there a lot. Thousands of messages answering the same questions over and over, trying to post announcements, give people heads up, teach people.
No, guys, it's not real. No, guys, it's not real.
yeah.
Lying,
and that's just kind of the nature of the business, right? I don't mind answering the same question over and over. And while I can't, hey, this is what engineering people are up to right this second, I don't have that level of insight for the most part. But the things that we are able to, publicly share as frequently as they can, I try to get in there and do it as much as I'm able to.
All right, Mr. Titan, you want to jump in there? I think I just stomped on you there.
No, that's all right. I'm used to it.
That was a lot of a lot of good information.
It was.
Yeah.
It is. So moving forward with the talk about the ELO and FamilyMan's great talk about the disparities. How often are you guys changing things up, or is that something? Is it going to come in like a monthly patch to where things are adjusted? Who's looking at that, and who's making the decisions on when those changes get put in?
You know, that unfortunately is not something that I am capable of answering, unfortunately. I do know that, you know, tweaks are a part of the game. It's part of the ecosystem. It's going to happen. As far as the frequency with which they happen and who's doing them and when and how often, I unfortunately don't have that information currently. I do know that
Bitbender question, dude.
that would definitely be a Bitbender question. I do know that we're going to have some UI tweaks coming up in the next update that's getting pushed, and that's going to hopefully you know, at least move the needle a good bit in terms of kind of quantifying what your VP is from and how much are you getting from this and that and this and that, and how does that translate into distribution. And, you know, because I know that a lot of people have been getting confused, right? They see, you know, their total at the top left of the lobby, and they say, oh, I got 60,000 VP, and this guy got 60,000, and here's the silk that we got from our distributions. Why is it different? And that's because, you know, map earnings go into that, node depot bonuses go into that, node bonuses go into that, you playing, pilot, you know, all these different things get calculated into that. And currently, we could be doing better. And I mean, that's just flat out. I definitely think that kind of breaking that down a bit further so people can fully understand what their victory points are and how they're getting them will help quite a bit.
That would actually, that's where the game can help out, and maybe this is a suggestion for game media or something like that. But I would love to play a game, or be playing the game, and then the game actually tell me that I'm going the right direction. Like, you did this in this last game, you keep going,
Right,
and you can level up your tank more with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, all UX, UI. Again, it's all brand new. There's still lots of changes to come, lots of updates, tweaks, and fixes that are all coming in, and they're gonna, you know, improve things over time. It's still very, very early on.
So with that being said, I know that today we're talking about this here on Faz Radio. The Mafia, if you haven't joined their Discord to get into that, there's a document that Timbo put out today asking for some feedback on how they can suggest to the team over at Gala how things can be improved. I think one of the things was just hit on, and it's got to be looked at in depth. The tournaments, the esports side of it, I think is going to be a big factor in adoption of this. Do you think that Gala will be pushing hard on the esports side of things? I do know that is certainly something that we're taking into account, because it's, I mean, on the level, it's an esports game, right? It's a team-based MOBA competitive shooter. Like, that is what it is, and that fits very well into the esports kind of genre. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tournaments, esports, that's all on the docket for sure. In fact, I don't think we've released anything, but next week or perhaps the week after that, if you're familiar with our Discord, we have the Primarchs of the Crimson Sun. That's kind of the CS leads, the customer support leads, myself and Deathlicious and Light GG. We're going to do a fun little thing for the community and have like a kind of community versus the Primarchs. And nice. And there's going to be some interesting little modifiers, and we'll see who beats us. And if you win, then you can, you know, hopefully multiple people will be able to beat us. It shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, we'll have, you know, something that people can, even if it's, you know, something small like a Discord role, you know, bragging rights, which people love bragging rights. But yeah, there's definitely some things that are coming on the way. And that's just one small thing that we're doing on our side, just because we're right in there with the community and we love the game too. So why not get involved and do something fun?
And to comment on that, it's not as easy as it sounds to beat the Primarchs. You're also going to have to bring your brains. And all your weight. So that's just a little leak there. It's more than just beating them.
What's a Primarch?
So Primarchs, it's essentially a Discord role, essentially, but it's the CS, the customer service folks. It's the leads that are on that team. That's the Primarchs of the Crimson Sun is our role in Discord.
Sounds like Vera's throwing a challenge out there. You better be ready, Vera. There's going to be some people that are going to jump in there and like focus on you now, I think.
Bring your wits, bring your intelligence. It's going to take a lot to beat the Primarchs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we will not give up without a fight. I'll tell you that much.
You know, I've actually been quite impressed with SpiderTanks because it seems that there's some really realistic tactics that you have to do to win some of these games.
Dude, there are new tactics every single day. It's crazy how crafty people can get and how clever they are with the different little tweaks and abilities and builds and team comps that can just completely throw a wrench into a plan that works perfectly.
I'm actually getting a little bit bent at the fact that I can't like voice chat with my team. And see, one of the things I'd really like to see is say I played with a good team. I'd like to be able to play with them again, you know, and
absolutely, yeah.
I don't know who some of these people are. I mean, I know FamilyMan because I know his thing, but I want to be able to like click on that person. Like once we won a game, add friend. That, oh my God, I'd be unstoppable.
Yeah. Just building out the social aspect of the game is certainly something that's coming.
Well,
okay.
I'm right there with you. There's people that I've played with. I'm like, I want to play with that guy again. He was amazing.
And that's why when we talk about all this stuff and everything that's, you know, being discussed here, which is great to understand it, but this is going to grow so much more than what it is, and we've got to let it evolve and let it move through and see where it really goes. People that get upset with stuff, it's not
and that goes into the ecosystem stuff too. All this stuff is dialed in. There are tweaks that are coming, but it's really going to show how strong and robust it is over time. Because you don't want something that just it's super inflationary. Everybody gets a ton of silk right off the bat, and then it just peters out into nothing after a month. That's not good for anybody.
Oh, I see Neff is here telling me he made SpiderTanks voice chats for me. Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's, I guess when I'm playing, I keep forgetting to go in there originally. But yes, there are a bunch of voice chats on the Gala Games Discord, and we should definitely use them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Having live voice communication with your team is a game changer.
I don't know. Something I don't like is I'll be playing with games that, you know, I'm up to like champion level now and I'm kicking people's asses. And every once in a while I get some, you know, we'll play some other people. And they're like, do you even know what you're doing? It's like, what the fuck, dude? I don't want to talk to you. And I don't know. There's something, if you don't have the right people, I really don't like the deal with dealing with abusive people or just bad team members or whatever. I guess what I'm really saying is I just want to be able to click on tanks that I play with that I played really well with, make them friends, and then we can go off and then we can have voice chats.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I mean being in the Discord is definitely one of those things that would get you there. Is you chat with people and you will get to know who is who. And not everybody's in-game name is going to match what they use in Discord, but eventually you'll be putting those two together and like, you know, hey, Foxhole, do you want to play? Or hey, Gonzo, you want to jump into a match? And you're going to start building out your friends list. And that's not to say that the in-game social aspect doesn't need to be improved. It certainly does. And it will. But yeah, I mean, being in the Discord right now at this point in time, while the community is relatively tight-knit, it will find you those friends that you mesh well with and you play well with.
We brushed on the topic of adoption, and that's another subject that I'm really, really staring at. Do you have any plans for bringing greater parity in order to keep new players around? I noticed that the matchmaking system had to be opened up because the people playing at the higher levels just weren't getting matches.
Yeah.
And so now, having done so, they're now able to play against people in like champion and even hero. In hero, I've played against deity level players, and that's really
important to note is the way that ELO works, right, or matchmaking rather works right now is if you're in a team of 3, it's going to matchmake for ELO based on your highest ranked person in your team.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, you know, if there are 2 heroes and a deity, and then you have, you know, a hero, a contender, and a mythic, then you very well could end up going against them because of that one super high ranked person on your team.
Oh no, we had a team today that the highest rank was what was it? It was Champion 2, and we played against an all legend team.
Champion and Legend are right next to each other.
I know, but I've also played in a game where I was playing against Aspirers and Heroes, and I was up in Legend, and no one on my team was down there. Like we were all either Champion or Legend. So like I did as a champion play against an Aspirer in one game, and the very next game I played against a deity. And
that's something
I wasn't in a team. I was being put together solo with the matchmaking queue.
Yeah, and that comes into the user base, right? Is that the more robust or the larger the user base is, the more fine-tuned that matchmaking system gets. That's just
that's what I was running at. Like if there is such an imbalance because of the low user base, is there a way that they could perhaps balance things out so that there's greater parity, so that these new players that are coming in that are forced to get matched onto a team with someone who does drag them into a higher match, they're going to get stomped, and they're going to tell their friends that the game sucks, and they're going to go away, and that's not just one person, but that whole friend group is just going to avoid the game.
Sure, and I think that the instances that you mentioned are pretty far and few between for the most part. I've got like 700 something games in, and it doesn't happen too often. Maybe one out of every 15 or 20 matches, you'll get some wonky ratings between the two teams, but it doesn't happen too often. And that'll get better and better as the user base continues to grow.
So is the user base kind of causing that, or is it just not enough people to select?
Yeah. So say we'll boil it down to simple rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 5 should always go with 5s, 4 should go with 4s, 3 should go with 3s, and so on and so forth. Now, if you only have, as an example, say 100 people, and you have 20 from each rank, right? The rank 5 people, there might be everybody's in a match, but there's still rank 5 person looking. So it's going to expand the radius that it's searching for a match for that person and start including rank 4. And say all those rank 4 people are busy. Now it'll go, okay, well, let's do 3 to 5 now. And it'll kind of keep expanding, trying to find matches for those people. And obviously, as if it goes from 100 to 10,000 people, and there's 2,000 within each of those ranks, then the likelihood of that 3 to 5 rank matching happening gets smaller and smaller as the user base grows.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see that, but I'm thinking about just for an initial user acquisition, there might need to be a little bit of help. Have there been any plans to create some sort of parity? I remember in Mayhem, everybody was running around in 0 level tanks. There was
right.
parity there. Is there a sense that might be something that's a good idea?
Yeah, and that goes into the system's not perfect. There's always tweaks to be made, and that's certainly probably one of them, right? Is that you do want to tweak matchmaking so that it's a little bit friendlier towards newcomers than it is battle-hardened veterans, right? So yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, we definitely need to impress on people the game itself being fun, because it is. It's a fantastic game, but if there's too much imbalance within a single match, people aren't going to be able to have that kind of fun.
Sure, and I think even using the bots in the game could kind of help ease people into it, because there's no competitive game necessarily where you're going to jump in as a brand new player and kick ass left and right, unless you're inherently really good at video games. And I think maybe have an option for I only want to play against bots right now. Maybe you don't earn, but you can get practice and you can get good at the game and understand the different game modes, learn the maps, learn your tank, weapons, bodies, all that good stuff.
Do you think that I thought at one time you could play more than just 3 people versus 3 people? Wasn't there? There
used to be a 5v5, yeah.
Is there ever going to be modes with more than those people, or do you not know about that?
I do not know officially, but I don't see why not. I mean, if the user base grows considerably, which obviously that's planned to happen, right?
I can see a
no
ton of
reason
modes
why it
being
wouldn't.
there.
Yeah,
I could see 1v1 even.
Yeah, you could do 1v1, 2v, drop in as duos. You could have 5v5. You could have, PvE aspects that are built out for teams to enjoy. Like
everybody kill everybody. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, or even a free-for-all. Free-for-all would be so much fucking fun. You just throw 6 people into a match and nobody's with anybody else. That'd be hilarious. Well, I would love that.
I'm just thinking of all the other games out there. There's always the team modes, and then there's the free-for-all, and there's a lot of variations of those. Free for all with the chickens, with the chickens that you have to walk through. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, like hold the flag with free for all. And again, this is all brand new. There's still a lot to come to the game. I can't really specify what precisely, but there's still a lot to come, and it's going to get a lot more fleshed out.
Well, can I ask one more question? And you probably don't know this one, but I
can't promise I can answer it. But go for it.
So the fuzzles have shaken everyone to the core as to the solvency of other companies that work with Gala Games, and they're afraid of their favorite game disappearing. Please tell us that SpiderTanks is on good legs, so to speak.
Oh, dude, Game Media is fucking phenomenal. Everything that they've been working on and putting out has been fantastic. I'm not concerned about Game Media.
Got it. Mr. Titan?
No, that's was going to be the last question I was going to ask. Right? They've built this into something pretty good. I still can't play it, both literally and figuratively. But hopefully down the road, as this thing opens up a little bit more, I'll be able to get in there and have some fun.
Yeah, and I mean, for those that have been around for a while, what the game is today versus what it was a year and a half ago, it's a night and day difference. And that's just kind of a good, what's the right word to put it? It's a good kind of indication of how things will continue changing over the next year, over the next 2 years, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of finishing in this latest version that's come out, and I'm sure it's been there for a little while. One of the finishing things I noticed was once they upgraded it, when a tank blows up, before you just have an explosion, but now you not only see an explosion, but you see tank parts flying around, and they kind of stay around for a little bit.
Yep, and that may potentially be part of the component grinding stuff later on. If you blow up a tank, steal their components.
Yeah, that sounds like a game mode in and of itself.
Right? Yeah, whoever gathers the most bolts.
Well, I'm just thinking of there's a lot of people who basically hack the game. They figure out what the best thing is, and if it turns out that somebody who has a lava tank spits out the most spare parts, then you're gonna see everybody always going after the lava tank.
Oh yeah, or even rarities. I mean, I if that were a thing, I would imagine an ancient's gonna shoot out more components than a common.
Oh yeah. That's true, because they're hard. They should be harder to kill, right?
They've got more components in them, don't they?
Well, does that
again? This is all unofficial. I'm just
we're speculating. We're having fun.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, would that mean then if you had an ancient that was killed, they should have something to lose if they're going to be spitting out tank parts? Boy, it would be nice to see people actually lose a level.
That would be interesting.
I would disagree with that.
I don't know of the efficacy of putting something like that in the game, but I am interested in the idea. I do like the idea that you can fight other people and destroy them and take components. Not necessarily from them directly, as in like you lose components whenever you lose a game, but certainly a way to grind components.
It would be nice if they lost victory points or something. I mean, there's an angle.
Or
here.
Maybe it could be some sort of bonus. You get X amount of components, and that directly correlates to the victory points you get.
Well, now that goes right into the Miranda's thing too, because they talked about the pit fighters. You lose your exemplar if you lose the fight as an option that they were thinking about. So yeah, I mean, as an option, you go in there and battle with your tanks, and you might lose shit. Yep. That's awesome.
I don't know how much people that lose those wagers, those fights, would like that. But,
Well, I'll tell you, you guys, if you did something like that, what you'd want to do is go for sheer volume, right? You put like burner tanks on the store for like $2 a piece, right? And let people just go buy $2 tanks and just go nuts
like
with
a
them in
demolition
that
derby.
Demolition Derby, nice.
What if you bought a tank? What if you bought a $2 tank, and if you could level it up, fine, but if you lost it, it was gone. That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Blockchain and smart contracts can certainly make something like that happen.
Well, I'm
telling
just
you,
saying,
this is the beauty of it.
There's a lot of angles that you can do with just these tanks and just with the economy, and that would actually play into stuff, because if you had a $2 tank out there, you would have a ton of people that would finally be able to earn something with that tank. But of course, higher risk, higher reward. You know, they'd be able to, if you earn it, you level it up to 15, it dies, it's gone. You only paid $2 for it, so you know you're not out anything.
What about a $2 tank that's already at ancient caliber? And if it blows up once, like, it's out.
There's a lot of angles, a lot of permutations of that.
Yeah. This could be crazy.
Somebody said that earlier, and I don't remember who. I apologize, but that is kind of what the crux of this is keeping it fresh. And I know they try and do that with like Townstar metas and shake things up. But the beauty of this is you guys can like literally create any scenario that you can possibly dream up, and to have those options to where people can come in and they can either go with the traditional battles, the specific maps, or crazy stuff like, you know, the death matches or anything like that. Keeping it fresh is, I think, what a lot of gamers are going to want too, because some like the grind and building over time, but there's other people that just want the quick dopamine hits, and they want to go in there and beat the snot out of somebody after a long day's work.
So,
sure. And that's the beauty of SpiderTanks, is that there's nothing, like, even outside of blockchain gaming, there's nothing like SpiderTanks. I can't think of a single game that's like it.
Something I really wanted to see with SpiderTanks that I was really kind of hoping for when I bought my map, for example, is I wanted people to have a reason to come to Faz's map. And I thought, you know, at one time that we'd be able to make it to where only certain games would be on Faz's map. Maybe the free-for-all is only on my map. And people would then seek my map out. And that's kind of what I was hoping we would go, but this whole random stuff feels so arbitrary.
So maps are still a very brand new thing. You can't even upgrade maps right now. There's still a lot more stuff coming to the map system.
It's just the random part is what I don't like. It's like, hey, you want to drive your car? Well, let's just drop you on any road in the United States and then see how it goes. And it's like, no, I want to drive on a highway, or I want to drive in the back country.
Sure.
That's something you can win some points with Bitbender with their Chairbandit. Take Faz's idea and have them sell map pods to where you can buy a map pod and choose what you put on there.
That could be interesting for sure. Yeah. I'm looking forward to upgrading the maps too. I've got an uncommon map, for example. And I'm not counting the days for when I can start upgrading that bad boy.
I'm actually not looking forward to buying more pieces. You know, I bought a number of pieces, but it's like, I thought the whole point of having a map is you just had to fight on any map you could, you know, if you didn't have a map. But if you did have a map, you'd have some more abilities. And so me having a map, there's really no difference between me and, say, Titan here, who doesn't have one, except maybe I get a little trickle of map income if people fight on it. So I'm hoping that there's some ways that I could make it unique.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The factories, I believe, is certainly going to be one of them. Upgrading your map as well is definitely going to contribute to that. Yeah, as it stands right now, again, it's still very brand new, and it's like maps exist. They go into a rotation. It's very simple, but it will be more robust over time.
Good deal. Well, I don't want to keep people on too long. I know Chairbandit came in at the last minute, and as a result, I think he might have been asking for it. Everybody started targeting their questions toward him.
that was the game plan. You guys You're nice to me at least.
You didn't want us to go after Vera? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no. All right, now everybody go after Vera.
We're like, Vera, tell me what you've heard in these meetings you've been sitting in on.
Oh, those meetings.
I just pictured Chairbandit sitting in that channel over there going, these fucking idiots got it wrong and I can't say anything.
No, I've been running around all things SpiderTanks ever since it launched, and I saw the opportunity. I was like, I got to get in there and talk to these guys. Maybe there's some questions I can answer. And
I think that is fair. Yeah, that's fair because, I think what you said, we're 2 weeks into this and everybody wants now. Why they want everything now.
What's a good game?
So,
and I keep telling people,
they're
a lot
excited.
of people they're like, oh, I did this today, and now it's going to take 15,000 years to do blah blah. I'm like, you need to just relax for a moment. It's 2 weeks. Don't make long-term speculations based on like a week of the game being out, right? There's a lot of things still coming to it and a lot more that's going to get fleshed out.
Well, I hope you guys, with all the talk of the economy and silk and money and gimme, I really hope that you guys put your focus into improving the gameplay and the experience first, because if people aren't happy, like FamilyMan was alluding to a little bit earlier, some of the new players might not have the greatest experience. That's where I think Gala has to focus all their attention, is the experience, not only in game, but as Faz mentioned, in the store, on the platform, in the Discord. That is what's going to keep people here playing games, spending money, having fun, making friendships. Yes, they want the money. We all know this is a big part of it, is the money, but that experience is going to keep them here. If they're playing the game only for money, they won't last long, and everybody knows it.
All right, and at
Agreed.
that,
let's have a fun game, right? Let's really be able to enjoy this.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I was going to say, and that should probably do it for me, Faz. I apologize. You were trying to exit, and I was.
I know he's trying to exit over the top of me here.
No, I get amped up talking about that stuff because there's been those losses lately, all this crap with everything going on, and people need to remember this is supposed to be fun.
It's just a game, dude. Get a life.
It's a good one at that.
So yes, I just wanted to say with all the crap that we've given you guys, and with all the crap that we give Gala Games, the reason we talk about it is we really like that stuff, and we just want to make sure that it gets better and that the fans are heard. For a lot of these casts, I have a channel in the Discord where I'm asking people to weigh in with their questions, and a lot of our questions are from other people for Bitbender for when we talk to him next. I'm hoping that'll be tomorrow, but it may be next week if he winds up being busy. So we might have another talk about SpiderTanks very soon.
Oh yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Thank you for letting me on the show. Hopefully I kind of bolstered the idea that we most certainly listen to our community. You guys are very, very important to everything that we do.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of good stuff in this one. So, all right. On that note, I think I'm going to get out of here and find our little pre-recorded outro here.
Thank you, guys. And just a reminder.
Thanks, Vera. Thanks, Chairbandit.
It's DYGYCON Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come to the Gala booth, hang out with us, chat with us. We can keep the conversations going.
Where's DYGYCON?
DYGYCON is online. I can post a link on there later.
Yeah, send me the link and I'll put it on this the description below here.
Awesome. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Vera, and thank you,
guys.
FamilyMan and Chairbandit and Titan. Okay.
And Nate, but he's not here.
And Nate, who left earlier because he has his drinking he has to get going. That's
Classic Nate.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Oh, wait, Titan. We have our pre-recorded outro to do. Can you say your thing so that people will know?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, like, subscribe, and throw some comments below. That helps us, which in turn helps us provide you with much, much better content every week. Thanks for being a listener. Thanks for supporting the channel.
And thanks for sitting through our pre-recorded outro.